As gross as that sounds. By the way, this story is going to be really gross. It's going to be a lot of medical shit. So, maybe I should do a little promotion is trivia. Yeah, no, you're sorry, but no, you're getting banned. Where was I? So basically, December 21st, 22nd, I started throwing up. I honestly thought I was having bad anxiety. It felt like a panic attack. So I was like, well, fuck, this is weird. I should have known it wasn't because it lasted like 2 hours. I go to bed, 2 a.m, I wake up and I'm just vomiting nonstop for about 48 hours. Tuesday rolls around. The vomiting stops, but I've got like this really, really bad throat pain. And I've had a flu before. I've wrecked my throat from throwing up. You name it. I go to the doctor's. He goes, yeah, you definitely had like a flu. Checks my temperature. I had like a really bad fever. He gives me this mouthwash that numbs your throat. He gives me a prescription for antibiotics. He says, hey, can you do me a favor? If you feel like shit tomorrow, go to the pharmacy and fill out this antibiotic thing. I'm like, okay, that's... Sure. I go home, I feel like shit. The next day, I go get the antibiotics. Time's going by. My throat is getting worse. I'm now finding it hard to eat, and it's beginning to get difficult to drink even water. And my instructions from the doctor are rest, take the antibiotics, drink lots of fluids. Well, here's the problem. I couldn't drink fluids, and I couldn't rest because I kept waking up choking. Third day comes along. If you've ever been on antibiotics, Day 3 is when you're supposed to be like, okay. So I go into the doctor's and I'm like, yo, I'm having troubles here. I can't drink, I can't breathe, I can't do anything. Doctor says, look, you're on antibiotics. Trust me, rest. Tomorrow, be feeling brand new. Doesn't look at my throat, doesn't swab, just says go home and rest. Says if you'd like, you can bring in your pain meds and we can crush it up so you can drink it. I don't know. The next day I wake up and I'm trying to drink water and it's literally coming out my nose. And like actually having trouble breathing. Not like I can't breathe, but it felt like I was breathing through a pinhole. It was insane. This is fucking Christmas Eve, okay? So it's been a week now of being sick. Dad comes in the room and he hears me choking on water and he's like, yo, are you fucking okay? And I'm like, I honestly don't know. I really don't want to go to the hospital on Christmas Eve. Don't want to fuck up Christmas for everybody. Got family coming over. We know the hospitals in Ontario, if you don't know, everything's overcrowded and there's not enough staff. But he says, look, you got no fucking choice. You can't drink. You can't breathe. You need help. Like, all right. So I go to hospital number 1, kind of local-ish hospital, small little place. I think I waited about 5 hours. Now, the sad thing is there was probably only about 5 people ahead of me. Thank God I went when I went. After about 5 hours of wait, they get me in. They're like, oh, shit. Look in my throat. And they're like, God damn, your throat is closed up. And at this point, they tell me that I have what's called a peritonsillar abscess. Gonna get a little gross here, okay? I'm not gonna show you guys what my throat looked like, but I'll show you what a peritonsillar abscess looks like. What it is if you get strep throat and then it progresses to tonsillitis. I didn't know this. You get tonsillitis from untreated strep throat, which means you get an infection in your tonsils, and then it grows an abscess, which is really gross, but it's a pocket full of pus in the back of your mouth. The problem is that it got to the point, if this is my throat right here, the abscess that I had because I left it for so long without getting it treated, it was about here. My uvula actually moved forward, was making me almost puke because it was swollen and it was touching like the back of my tongue. This is what my throat looked like. And there was about that big right there for me to eat through and breathe through. Wish I got the picture of the CAT scan. It ran all the way down to my thyroid. It went from here down like this, and it stopped about here, which made my throat all here just extreme. Like I looked like I was on steroids. They stick me with an IV. They hit me with some morphine, some steroids, a bunch of antibiotics, and like fluids and food and stuff because I hadn't eaten. So I'm sitting there for about an hour while they're doing different things. They give me the CAT scan, first CAT scan ever. I need to see at this point an ear, nose, and throat doctor. They get a hold of the ear, nose, and throat specialist and they say, you're going to be transferred to this other hospital. At this point, I want to say it's midnight. I don't know what time it was at this point. I just know it was close to midnight. They call the ear, nose, and throat. They go, yo, you got to be here. This kid's coming. He needs to see somebody now. The ear, nose, and throat doctor says, yeah, I'll be there. Get in an ambulance, and I get transferred. Put me in a trauma room. kind of cool because they got everything, right? I come in on a stretcher. The ambulance ride was really cool because they just whipped. It's like this giant room with like this big like light and like this giant spinning like radar thing. It looks like I'm about to be probed by an alien, and there's like a bunch of screens over here and shit like that. My dad is over here just chilling, waiting for the doctor. This is my dad. This is me. And we're waiting there. I'm sitting here. About an hour goes by. They page Buddy. How's the lighting? Good for streaming? Oh, dude. This thing is like, bee! Like, holy fuck, dude. It was rigged up like RoboCop to all these machines, right? Which, by the way, most entertaining thing I found in the hospital. All the things they hooked me up with, I was fucking with them. You put the IV in the one hospital. The bag is here, and I can see it. And this is supposed to like go drop, 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 drop. This is connected to my hand. So I notice and it's not dripping. And then she looks at me and she's like, can you make kind of a fist but not close your hand? And I do that and it starts dripping. So I'm fucked up. I'm on morphine and 10 days of no sleep and no water. I'm looking at this thing like it's a fucking video game. And I'm looking at it and going like this with my hand and making it stop drip. And then I did this, and it would drip again. And she came back and she saw me, and she's like, stop fucking doing that. Which I probably should have listened because I'm really bruised in my hand where the IV was. Anyways, 2 hours go by. I have a giant pus ball in the back of my throat. That sounds like a good time, honestly. It was fun, man. It's about 2:30 in the morning. God bless my dad. He's still there. At this point, because of what's in my throat, I'm coughing up garbage. And I want to throw up because I can taste it. Emergency room doctor comes in, checks my fever, and she goes, your fever's really high. We need to get Tylenol in you. I'm like, okay, I can't swallow anything. She's like, okay, we'll get you the liquid Tylenol. I'm like, okay, cool. Liquid Tylenol. That can't be that bad. Little did I know, this was going to be the catalyst. My entire fucking night going to shit. Puts the liquid Tylenol in my hand. I go to put it. It's so thick. It gets all caught in the back. And I just start coughing it up. Now coughing up all this liquid fucking Tylenol. I can't breathe because it's full of shit. She goes to me, listen, we have to get your fever down. Either you're going to get this liquid Tylenol in you, or we are going to have to do a suppository. And I'm like, look, lady, I understand that you got a job to do, but I don't want to put Tylenol up my ass on Christmas Eve. If this is the way I go, I'm ready to go. I'm almost 30. That's a lot of years. That's a lot of years. 30? That's a lot of years, man. I'm 29 this year. I don't want to go out saying that I boofed a fucking Tylenol to keep a fever down. Put some ice bags on me. She's like, we'll wait like 15 minutes. If your fever goes down, we don't have to do it. Lord, my fucking fever went down. My fever passes. Here's where things get really gross. It's about 3 in the morning on Christmas Eve. We paged the ENT one more time, the guy that said that he was going to be there. He said, I'll be back in the morning. I'm going home. And left me with a potentially dangerous abscess in the back of my throat. I have a goddamn ball of pus. And I mean, I get it. It's 3:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. I don't want to be there on Christmas Eve. About an hour later. This is where it gets real fun. At this point, I am sitting and I'm coughing up all of the Tylenol. They've given me like these, so I'm sitting puking pretty much mucus and shit into this bag. The fucking abscess in the back of my throat explodes. Okay? I turn to my dad and I go, get the doctor, because I felt it burst. And he's like, why? And the minute he says why, and I spit up probably 10 fucking pounds of this blood and pus. I'm going to try to get the color right. It's like a brownie, like red. It's blood and it's pus and it's fucking disgusting. I'm throwing this up. The doctor runs in, gets this big old bucket, and I'm throwing it up into this container. Must have felt good, though. When I tell you that it was the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted and smelled in my life, I am not exaggerating. I still taste it. When I tell you nothing compares to the smell and taste of an abscess exploding in the back of your mouth. I threw up the stuff for about an hour and a half. Now, at this point, my anxiety is through the goddamn roof because you know me. I've already Googled all the complications. Doesn't matter that I was in the hospital. I was like, fuck, am I going to die? Am I going to die? I'm in the best place you can be. If this thing explodes and you swallow it, you can get pneumonia, sepsis. But yeah, about an hour and a half puking that shit up. My dad goes home. You go, all right, you're going to have to stay overnight. So I'm already staying overnight for Christmas Eve. Figured that was going to happen when the guy didn't fucking show up at 4:30 in the morning. They moved me into another emergency section. So I'm being moved around from room to room to room, sleeping on stretchers. Still haven't seen the ENT. Buddy shows up around like 10 a.m. He goes, it's Christmas, and I'm sorry I left last night. Look, I'm not going to lie. What we're about to do is going to suck, and the recovery is going to suck ass. I'm like, oh, great. Can I go home? No. He says, if you cannot eat liquid foods by the end of the day, you need to stay in the hospital. Okay. So he takes this spray numbing stuff and he goes, this is going to taste really, really bad, but it's going to numb your throat completely for like an hour. Compared to the fucking taste in the back of my mouth right now, I'm okay with a little bit of bad taste. Sprays it in there, it sucks. And he takes a couple needles and he sticks it right into the back of my throat where the abscess is. Takes this giant straw thing, just like at the dentist, the suction at the dentist. It's like that, but it's a lot bigger and it's got a big ball, like a soft ball on the end. He's like, I need you to breathe through your nose, which I had been doing for a week anyways. And he shoves the fucking thing into the hole, just sucking out pus and blood. And then he goes, all right, this next part, I'm not going to lie, it's going to suck. And I'm like, why the fuck would you tell me that? Don't say this next part's going to suck. And he goes, I'm going to take the scissors and I'm going to put them in the hole of the abscess and cut it wider. This hole in the back of my throat. Like, I don't know why the fuck you told me that. He goes, I'm going to count to 5. The entire time I'm counting to 5, it's going to suck. All you have to do, breathe through your nose. And if it gets really, really bad, make a noise and I'll stop. 5 seconds, I can do that. He goes, takes the scissors, puts them on the back of my tonsils where the hole is. I feel them. They're cold. I don't have any pain because I'm numb. They're cold. And he starts cutting, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Good job. Okay. Good job. Nice. Just a little more. Good job. The whole time I'm going, this motherfucker. I can feel the tissue in the back of my throat tearing. It's like cutting through like a sandbag. I'm like, this fuck takes the thing out after like 10 seconds of cutting the back of my throat open, and he puts the straw thing back in my mouth, and he goes, just close your mouth on that. And of course the fucking thing is see-through. I just see blood going. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. This guy just cut the back of my throat open. I'm gonna die. And then he's like, all right, lay back and chill for a bit. Back and fucking chill. He's like, done for the day. If you can eat by the end of the day, you can go home. So another form of entertainment is he left me with the little sucker thing. That was really fun. It was making like Star Wars noises. Again, I'm on so much morphine at this point. But when I put the little sucker thing in my mouth and went, the nurse would come in and I would just be like, blood just everywhere. There it is. That's the little sucky thing. I took a lot of pictures. I look wonderful, eh? Long story short, they brought me the food and I passed out. I didn't even get a chance to try. Fell down on the stretcher and just KO'd. I mean, I was on a lot of medication. They wanted me to stay anyways. So they keep me overnight in an emergency room. That was not fun. As I said before, we have like a serious issue right now in Ontario. Understaffed and overbooked at the hospital. My bed was here. There was a bed right here. There's a bed right here. There's a bed right here. Room ended there. These are rooms that are built for one person, and they pack 4 beds into here. No privacy shade. The room just reeked of piss and sweat. I'm losing my mind. I didn't really sleep much. So there were a couple times where I would come out and be like, guys, look, I can eat. Poor guy that worked there. And he kept looking at me and being like, motherfucker, you need to stay here overnight. And I was like, I know. Sucks though. That guy in the middle of the night was turning on lights and shit like that. Look at it. This is 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning, this motherfucker turns on the light, blasts it at me, and starts playing solitaire. Long story less long. ENT comes the next day. He looks in my throat and he says, look, you're good to go. The recovery period is 5 to 7 weeks. I was on prednisone, which is a steroid, which kind of fucked me up mentally for a bit. And I'm currently on a really heavy dosage of amoxicillin. This is what I had to... I came out of the hospital still, by the way, with my throat really swollen, and these are the antibiotics I have to take. So I had some troubles getting those down. Not gonna lie, these are fucking with me, man. I cannot wait to get off them. I feel very out of it. But let's grind some Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, thank you guys for chilling and listening. We're gonna start that now. And if you want to go chill, if you want to take off now, that's by all means, that's fine. Thank you for listening to my fucking TED Talk. Yeah.